Well, former First Lady Melania Trump shared a statement on social media about the attack. She wrote, when she saw the, quote, violent bullet strike her husband, she realized her life and their son, Barron's, was on the brink of devastating change. She went on to say a monster attempted to, quote, wring out Donald's passion, his laughter, ingenuity, love of music, and inspiration, adding, Dawn is here again. Let us reunite. No doubt the shooting will have an impact on the Republican National Convention, which starts today in Milwaukee. Donald Trump is not scheduled to speak until Thursday, and he has yet to announce his running mate. CBS News political correspondent Caitlin Huey-Burns is in Milwaukee now to join us. So, as we know, Donald Trump arrived in Milwaukee yesterday. He's not speaking till later on in the week. That's usually how things go. What can we expect from his speech? Because as I understand it, he's making some changes.
That's right, Anne-Marie. He landed here last night. They have been adamant that this convention should go on as planned. They have made no changes to the fundamental schedule. But as you mentioned, the speeches, and especially the former president's speech, will be altered by the events of the weekend. The former president said yesterday in an interview with the Washington Examiner that he has rewritten, or they are rewriting a lot of his speech. This is a different speech, he said to the Examiner, than he was intending to give. I can tell you the atmosphere, we've been on the ground here since Thursday. Republicans were already rallying around the former president, excited to be having this convention, and especially excited to be a united party in contrast to the Democrats at this point. But that has reached an even more intense and pronounced level. When you talk to Republicans here, they are not really concerned about the security or anything like that, and we can talk about that in a moment. They are looking forward to welcoming their presumptive nominee, soon-to-be nominee, here to Milwaukee, and are full of anticipation.
And so, you know, the big sort of unknown question is who's going to be chosen to be his VP. Has the short list gotten any shorter?
Well, we have been eyeing still those top three contenders, Doug Burgum of North Dakota, J.D. Vance of Ohio, and Marco Rubio of Florida. But, Anne-Marie, it is hard to imagine that the events of the weekend don't shape that pick.
Yeah.
Just fundamentally, the idea of a number two becomes so much more pronounced given what we saw, that assassination attempt. It really kind of puts into perspective that this could be a reality, that this number two, the vice president, could have to step up, even temporarily, in some of these cases. So does that place more of an emphasis on experience, on calm, on demeanor, on having the preparedness to also guide the country? We also know that the base of the party is already very riled up in Donald Trump's favor. So do you need someone who just adds to that, or do you need someone who can be a different kind of presence on the ticket? We are expecting that announcement today as the convention kicks off and gavels in. That was the plan, was to announce it by today. And of course, the future vice presidential pick will give a speech on Wednesday, and Donald Trump will appear on Thursday. We are expecting him, though, to appear on stage throughout the week.
Really fascinating analysis, Caitlin. Thank you very much.